In the Philippines, an illegal gold trade worth an estimated $700 million annually is flourishing.
You could call it a black market because they want to keep it secret.
The trade is run by financiers, agents, and buyers who do whatever it takes to keep the business going.
When the officials ask us for some gold, we give it to them as a bribe.
Mining has wreaked havoc.
It will take years to restore the environment here.
There are signs of tuberculosis.
We met the people driving this illegal trade.
They don't care who sells the gold to them or where it comes from.
It's greed. It's greed. It is greed.
We'll show you how the illegal gold changed hands as it moved towards its final destination. East of the capital, Manila, lies the coastal town of Paracale. People have been mining gold here for centuries.
The older residents say Paracale has been rich in gold since ancient times. Supposedly, people dug up treasures buried around town. Even today, there's an abundance of gold, and we won't run out of it anytime soon. Nowadays, though, you have to dig deeper to get it. In the old days, you could just pick up huge nuggets that were lying on the ground.
Paracale is home to a very profitable gold mining and processing industry. But there are also a number of illegal mines.
People prefer compressor mining because if you find high-grade gold, you can earn the equivalent of 1,700 to 17,000 euros. You won't make that kind of money doing construction work. The daily wage for those jobs is between 5 and 7 euros. But in mining, with a little luck, you can become very rich very quickly.
Instant millionaire.
Jeremy Melenas works in an illegal gold mine. It's the only job he's ever had.
Almost all of us work in the mines or pan for gold. It's our only source of income, and we risk our lives to do this work. We have no choice. What else can we do? Most of us have only finished elementary school to the 6th grade. So there aren't many job opportunities for people like us. This is the only way to make ends meet and provide for my family.
A long time ago, I encouraged him to take a construction job in Manila, but he didn't want to. My cousin offered him a job as a porter, but he didn't want that either because he's so used to gold mining. He was raised to be a miner.
6 days a week, Jeremy travels 30 minutes by canoe to his job site in Panganiban.
Gold mining gives you a chance at a better life. And if you're lucky, you can get rich.
Tucked away in this mangrove swamp is an illegal gold mine. Gold that's mined here is then traded on the black market. Miners like Jeremy are known as players. They don't have the necessary permits to work here. This is what compressor mining looks like. It's extremely dangerous, and it's illegal in the Philippines. The miners stay underwater for hours to dig up gold. They breathe through a narrow rubber tube that's connected to a compressor.
It can go as deep as 6 meters or more. I can dive at any depth.
The mine is located near a river, so as soon as the miners dig a meter down, water flows in.
If it's shallow, we can stay underwater for half a day. We come back to the surface about 6 or 7 hours later.
7 or 6 hours.
The gold miners have little to protect themselves underwater.
The cotton keeps the mud from getting into my ears. Next comes this head bath. Then I tie the hose around my waist. This hose is connected to a compressor, so I can breathe underwater. Now the goggles. So I can open my eyes down there.
Underwater, it's nearly pitch black and cold.
We can't see anything down there. Sometimes I get nervous before going down because we never know what might happen. If the pit collapses, I'm not sure I'd survive.
While diving, Jeremy can only use his hands to find his way. He digs for rocks and puts them in a bag, which is then pulled to the surface by another miner. The rocks are inspected, and those containing gold are set aside. The miner's income fluctuates from day to day.
We don't get a fixed income. It depends entirely on the rocks we mine every day. If they contain gold, they're processed, and we'll get our share. Sometimes we each will earn about €3 a day, but there are also days when we get nothing. Sometimes we just don't find anything.
Miners like Jeremy are at the very bottom of a complex structure of illegal activity. Above them in the chain of command are the financiers.
They provide us with everything, including food and this shack. It all comes from the financiers.
The financiers work behind the scenes, pulling the strings. They are responsible for assembling teams of miners and choosing where they dig for gold. We tracked down one of these financiers in a small town near Paracale.
We basically provide the crews with everything they need to mine gold. Money, food, a place to work, diesel fuel, and just about everything else.
It costs the equivalent of about 850 euros to set up an illegal mine. The financiers can double their investment if the miners strike gold. This business is illegal, but the bosses are not afraid of being arrested. They've already bribed the appropriate authorities.
Are local officials involved too?
Yes, it can't be avoided. They want a share of the profits. When the officials ask us for some gold, we give it to them as a bribe. If you don't play the game and pay off the police, they'll arrest you. If I don't find any gold, I lose money. If I do find gold, I make money. It's as simple as that. We take the rocks that we found at the mine and bring them to my rock mill for processing.
Rock mills are the next stage in the illegal gold trade. In Paracale, hidden behind a small bicycle repair shop, we found one such operation. Workers hired by the financiers transport the rocks from the mines to a place like this to separate the gold.
First, we dump the rocks into the drum of the rock mill to grind them up. Then, we rinse the crushed material and add mercury to it.
Mercury is extremely toxic. Direct exposure can cause poisoning. But the workers here didn't seem too worried.
We use mercury to extract the gold. Even if we don't wear gloves, it's quite safe. It's not a problem to handle mercury as long as you wash your hands afterwards and before you eat.
The next step of the extraction process is equally dangerous. Workers heat the mixture to separate the raw gold from the mercury.
The problem is when we heat the mercury, it produces fumes. Inhaling them is dangerous because it can go inside our bodies. That's the riskiest part.
Without any safety precautions, the workers risked respiratory failure, all the while earning the equivalent of just about 4 euros a day.
2.5 po.
Normally, we produce about 2.5 grams of gold a day. Here's a sample. But sometimes we produce up to 10 grams.
Some workers pay a high price to extract a small amount of gold. The symptoms of mercury poisoning often appear only years later. Jerry Francis worked in illegal gold mines in Paracale for 20 years. But 3 months ago, he had to quit due to health problems.
I have pain in my chest, in my back, and when I breathe. Most of the time, I feel frail and weak. Sometimes I can barely walk, and my vision gets blurry.
He has a bad cough and he keeps complaining about back pain. That's why we came to the doctor's office, so they can do some tests.
What can I do for you?
I have back and chest pain.
How did it start?
From diving.
This shows pockets of sticky mucus, and there are signs of tuberculosis.
Pulmonary tuberculosis.
Your job probably has something to do with your illness and apparent mercury poisoning. Mercury, cyanide, and other acids are often used in mining. This is what happens after prolonged exposure to these substances. You're then tired, but you get too little sleep, and that weakens your immune system. Based on the X-ray and my initial findings, my preliminary diagnosis is pulmonary tuberculosis. You'll have to come back for more checkups. And I'd recommend 6 months of treatment and medication.
If there's no other option, I'll have to go back to work. I need money to provide for my children. They have to go to school. I'll just have to accept this situation and deal with whatever happens at the mine. I don't care what happens to me. I need to work to take care of my family and pay for my kids' education.
I feel helpless knowing that my husband is sick. We have 6 children to take care of. I don't know what I'd do if I lost him. But he's strong, and he'll get through this. He's a fighter.
While miners struggle to get by, gold agents are profiting. They act as middlemen between financiers and buyers and arrange for the gold to be refined.
Madalas kong kinakaltas dyan sa isang bahay.
I usually charge between 80 cents and €1 per gram to get the gold processed.
Ang kinakaltas ko, na 100. Depende sa...
My fee also depends on the quality of the gold
Depende sa nagamit nilang mga...
and the amount of chemicals I have to use to refine it.
Charge ko sa kanila para tumubo at kumita rin ako.
The agents must remove impurities in the gold before they can sell it. The work is done by trained chemists in illegal processing plants.
First, we'll weigh it. 1.2 grams.
Mix and...
Then we put it all in this pot.
Or fat, payo.
The chemist demonstrates how the refining process works.
refined gold.
We will be melting the gold, the refined gold, at about 1,000 degrees centigrade.
This is the refined gold, already cooking. Yeah, that's okay. I'll pick the gold and point. It's done, it's finished. It's almost 24K gold.
The refined gold is now ready to be sold. But who is buying this precious metal, despite the fact that it's been mined illegally? In Paracale, the deals often take place in small shops like these. We followed an agent with hidden cameras to see where he sold the gold.
You usually get a lot more money here than you do from other buyers.
On
the outside, this place looks like a computer store, but it's really a gold shop. The store is very popular because no matter how much gold people bring in, they're paid in cash.
In cash.
The buyers don't care where the gold comes from. They know it was mined somewhere around Paracale.
Do the buyers care that the gold has been mined illegally?
That's how it is. They're well aware of that, and it doesn't bother them at all. They don't care who sells the gold or where it comes from. They just buy it.
While the miners earn barely more than €3 a day, the agents can make more than 10 times that amount in a single transaction.
I recently bought some gold for the equivalent of about €150. But luckily today, the market value went up, and I was able to sell it for almost €200. So today, I earned almost €50. It's all about the money. If you have gold to sell, you get paid in cash. The buyers don't care. They pay you and you leave. It's that simple.
With so many cashing in, the illegal gold mining industry has scarred the land.
Mining has a huge impact on the environment. It will take years to restore it to the way it was before.
Environmental activist Arkan Prera grew up in Paracale.
Makikita nga natin yung na-mine out na pinagkaburan ng compressor mining.
The mines here were abandoned after compressor mining. And as we can see, the land here has been devastated.
Devastated. Ang compressor po.
In this type of mining, the soil and minerals are dug out, and they don't put them back. So after digging and taking what they want, they abandon one mine and set up another somewhere else. and they do the same thing there. That's why this place looks as bad as it does.
Lipat na naman sa kabila uli, kaya talagang sirang-sira.
Compressor mining uses mercury to extract the gold. That mercury can infect local fish. And according to scientists, if people eat that fish, there's a chance that their newborn children will have disabilities.
Gumagamit ng mercury.
Forever, that the rights of our people to a clean and healthy environment should be the main discerning factor for whatever. For the LGUs, the percentage of mining...
Gina Lopez was an environmentalist and a former secretary of the Philippines Department of the Environment and Natural Resources.
While you're mining, it's okay.
Lopez died in 2019, but during her career, she was a vocal opponent of mining in the country.
If you allow the destruction of the environment in one area, you kill the possibilities in other areas, because the way the ecosystem works, it's like a domino effect. You know, then forget about the farmers and fishermen, just the people who want the gold. They're just going to be the ones to make the money. And that gold is not there forever. So once they finish all the gold reserves, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to the future? You killed the land. So I feel the best use of Philippine resources is to use it in a way that it can be forever used. You don't kill it for now, and then never mind what happens in the future. And I will say the blame of this small-scale mining, this gold, is the government. One, they're not monitoring well, and it's not enough to say no. If people are poor and you're telling them they can't do this, you have to give them an alternative. You can say, why don't you do this? And you have to help them all the way up to marketing until they make money. Whose duty is it to make sure that things happen well? Government. Whose duty is it to make sure that illegal things don't happen? Government. Whose duty is it to make sure that our poor don't suffer? Government. So if government makes choices to benefit the rich, what will the poor do?
Many miners who work in this illegal industry risk their health and even lives to provide for their families.
My hands look like this because of gold mining. We work underwater with no protection, so my hands are in pretty bad shape. They hurt. But after I rest and take some medicine, I feel better, and my fingernails grow back.
Apollo Jardin doesn't want his son to have such a hard life.
I hope he'll do something else. Maybe he'll find a job overseas. I have to work hard to make as much money as I can to pay for his education.
Gina Lopez believed that the persistence of illegal mining was not due to poverty alone. She blamed government officials who had a vested interest in keeping the system going.
The governor, the congressman, their families operate the mines. Hello? My God, no? I mean, there are people that are represented in Congress and whatever that themselves have mining interests. In the Philippines, mining funds political campaigns. So every time you fund a political campaign, that particular politician is indebted to you. Politicians consistently make decisions that cater to business interests, even if it means the violation of Filipino rights. It's really, really sad.
While agents are small-time dealers who operate mostly in shops around town, the sellers operate in the bigger market. They buy and sell in larger quantities. We tracked down one of the black market sellers. She revealed where the illegal gold is usually sold.
After I buy the gold from the players, I have it refined. Then I take it directly to the Binondo district in Manila. You could call it a black market because they want to keep it secret. The buyers don't want to be seen purchasing gold. I would call it a black market.
We followed the trail of illegal gold from Paracale to Binondo, Manila's Chinatown. Binondo is known for its many legitimate gold dealers, but sources in Paracale told us that some of the traders here also buy bulk quantities of gold that's been mined illegally. By law, local gold producers in the Philippines must sell their gold to the central bank. But many of them prefer to do business on the black market.
I don't like to work with the central bank because the transactions are really complicated, and taxes and fees cut into my profit. That's why I go directly to the black market.
We set up a hidden camera to talk to one of these black market buyers.
You guys ready?
We are ready. Is it filming now? Is it rolling?
Yes.
We spotted a man who looked like he might be a buyer. Our reporter pretended to be a gold seller.
I don't need documents?
No, no.
The man turned out to be a gold agent.
You're sure? No need for documents.
It's crowded here. Let's move.
Black market dealers routinely buy refined gold here without asking for proof of origin. That's illegal.
Will you buy gold from Paracale?
Of course they will. They don't really care where it comes from.
The agent offered to introduce us to his boss, a big-time gold buyer.
He used to be a police officer, but that doesn't matter. If you have lots of gold to sell, I'm sure that he'll see you. But he doesn't like doing business on the street. I'll go with you, don't worry. He's got the money. Just walk in there and you can discuss the details.
His boss was waiting in a quiet corner office near some legitimate jewelry stores.
Sample lang.
What kind of gold?
24 karat. Will you also buy a large quantity if I can show you the documentation? When you buy gold, don't you need to see the paperwork?
No, not necessary.
I thought it was like the central bank.
I'm not the central bank.
It's my first time. The gold is from a mine in the provinces.
How do you want it valued? Per gram?
Yes. Name your price.
2,000 pesos?
2,000? Does this go to the central bank now or eventually, or does it go to other countries?
It can go anywhere.
But then the buyer grew suspicious and abruptly ended the transaction. Our reporter decided to leave before her cover was blown. Reports indicate that in 2012, 90% of the gold that came from small-scale mining in the Philippines was traded on the black market and then sold overseas.
It's greed. It's greed. It is greed. Because you don't need the gold. You don't need the gold. But our people need water, our people need food, our people need air. And it is wrong for the government to allow greed to put at risk the lives of our people. It is wrong. It's against our constitutional right.
The demand for gold has devastated lives. Julie Andrade's husband was killed in a mining accident.
On the morning of November 21st, 2012, we were having breakfast. We were in bright spirits. My husband said suddenly that he needed to work that day because we had no more money. He told me earlier, before I go to work, I'd like you to make breakfast and we'll eat together. So I did, and we had a really nice time. It didn't occur to me until 4 p.m. that day that it was the last breakfast the children and I would ever have with him.
That afternoon, the mine Julie's husband was working in collapsed, killing him and 2 other miners.
It was very painful because he'd been especially sweet that day. I felt like my heart was going to explode. I wanted the world to fall down on me so I could follow him.
The man who'd financed the illegal mine offered Julie some money to keep quiet.
It was the equivalent of 1,700 euros, and the financier promised that he'd recover my husband's body. He paid for everything. But he didn't want the media to report the accident. He was afraid that the mine would be shut down.
Julie saw no other way to provide for her family, so she accepted the money.
At first I was angry because my husband died in that mine. After I took the money, I felt miserable. 1,700 euros in exchange for my husband's life. But what else could I do? What's done is done. They can't bring my husband back.
The authorities tried to track down the mine's financier, but they couldn't find him, and no one was held accountable for the accident.
My children and I miss him so much. There are times, especially at night, when I think about him. I wish we could be with him again, if only for a moment. To this day, I have a hard time accepting the fact that he's no longer with us.
This tragedy prompted a major investigation into the dangers of compressor mining. The Philippines Senate later approved a resolution strengthening penalties for dangerous practices in small-scale mining operations. Nevertheless, illegal gold mining continues in the area around Paracale. Despite the ban, enforcement is lax, and many people still go to work in these mines because it's the only way that they can earn a living.